Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into the YouTube channel. Today I would like to do a video on a wintertime bass fishing hack, or something that I've relied on to get me out of jams when I'm fishing during the cold water period. Right now, water temperatures here in East Texas are in the mid 50s, and they will continue to fluctuate, probably get cooler depending upon weather systems and different things like that. And there's different ways to catch them. You could catch them on jig and spoons, blade baits. You could Carolina rig, football jig, drop shot, forward facing sonar. Not all of them are gonna be good. And honestly, the thing about wintertime fishing is wintertime fishing could be challenging because they're not feeding as much. There's periods of the day where they're just inactive. A fish's metabolism is at its lowest. So there's times when they're just not biting, and so that can be challenging to locate them because you might find them but they're not biting. So you've got to try different things and keep your mind open. But something that I've done over the years that seems to be a fallback when nothing else seems to work, it's something that I've relied upon to salvage a day on a guide trip when it's been difficult, and I've seen this come through for me more times than not. So it's a bit of a wintertime hack, but it's cranking shallow. 6 foot and less. I would just find areas where they're leading into spawning areas or coming out of spawning areas, main lake points or banks that have a little bit of a steeper edge, something that has a bit of a slope to it, sometimes flats when there's grass, but this revolves around cranking in shallow water, 6 feet or less, and rock. This is something where if you could just find hard spots, rock or hard clay or gravel, or anything like that. Sometimes it's riprap around marinas. Sometimes it's areas in neighborhoods where they've put rock out there, riprap rock, to stop erosion. And then obviously going to the dam, that's always a great place to find rock, and you can really do well with this. So I want to go over a couple different types of baits that I usually go to for shallow wintertime cranking. Again, that's 6 foot and less is kind of where I'm gonna focus my efforts. And as a general rule, I like to fish smaller baits. In the wintertime, they seem to get more traction, more results, and are just overall productive. Number one, I would definitely have a box of square bills. Square bills can be great for fishing in and around rock. The main key for fishing square bills, in my opinion, this one's a Bill Lewis ATV 1.5. And when I'm fishing square bills, the key is definitely slowing down, slowing my retreat. If that requires you to have a slower gear ratio reel, then go ahead and do that. But a crawfish color, sometimes in a little bit stained water, not really dirty water, but some stain, a chartreuse, blackback can be good. But generally it's gonna be crawfish patterns and baitfish patterns. Another type of bait that I'm gonna look at is a flat-sided crankbait. Flat-sided crankbaits just do well this time of year in that colder water period. Anytime the water temperature gets in the 50s and lower, I would like something that has a flat side on it. So that's just key. Here's a Bill Lewis MR6, and this one runs to 6 feet. Again, smaller sizes, 2 1/4 inch. And I'm fishing these on 10 to 12, maybe 14 pound test line, gamma edge fluorocarbon. Same thing with my square bills. Square bills I'm generally a little bit more aggressive with, so I'll probably lean on 14. But something like this, like an MR6, it's got a little bill on it and flat sides and can throw a long ways. I'm gonna fish those on 10 or 12, just so I can maximize the deeper diving depths. And what I mean by that, get down to that 6 feet and make a long cast, crank it down. Again, slower. You might need a slower gear ratio reel if your body mechanics is such that you just want to turn that handle and you can't bring yourself to slow it down. Once I'm in contact with rock, then I can crawl it over the rock, and that can be just a key to getting bites. When it comes to colors, just try to keep it simple. Either they're on bait or they're on crawfish, one or the other. And then lastly, how would I even talk about cranking shallow in the wintertime without mentioning a Bill Lewis rattletrap? Get yourself some sort of red crawfish and either a gold blackback or chrome blueback, and you're off to the races. Those are some crankbaits that I would have ready when I hit the water in the December, January, February timeframe, that colder water period. I kind of presented this video as something that I use to bail myself out when other things aren't working, but a lot of times this has been my main thing in the wintertime. Shallow cranking, rock, and those types of places where fish can have some vertical movement. So not way back on a flat, something where there's a slope or some type of cover where the fish can slide off into deeper water depending upon the weather as it changes in the wintertime. Shallow cranking in the wintertime, 6 foot and less, can put some fish in the boat and generally salvage the day when everything else has failed. I appreciate you guys tuning into the YouTube channel. If you got anything out of this, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that. I also have my merch, Team Niggemeyer Fishing. I'll put a link in the description below. Until next time, good fishing.